Hi everybody, the Essential Musician here, Karen DeBella. You can call me Dr. K. My students call me Dr. K. And today we're going to talk about how to focus when you can't pay attention. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm a professor of music at a university and I'm a department chair. And I have an essential oils business that I love, and I really love helping people understand how to make the connection between using tools that can really support you and achieving certain kinds of difficult things in your life. So one of my main things that I like to really dive into is how to focus. And you don't have to be a musician to learn how to do this. In fact, we all have times in our life when we have to do deep focus. Sometimes every single day we have to do some deep focus. And there are certain times when we need to do this and it's really hard to do. So musicians, we do this all the time. And if we don't, you can tell, because if you don't practice well, people notice. So I figured I might as well hop on here and help you understand some different ways that you can help yourself focus when you really don't want to. So for those of you who don't know, on every Wednesday I post a blog post. I have a blog at theessentialmusician.ca. Every Wednesday I update my link tree with the new blog post, so you can see there's an announcement in my feed. And then every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, I hop on somewhere. We're going to try Insta Live for a while and see what happens. And I talk about that blog. So welcome to the office hour. Bring your questions. If you happen to read the blog ahead of time and you have questions, bring them. If you didn't read the blog, you're still welcome. So here we go. How to focus when you can't pay attention. And I'm looking at my blog post over here, if you're wondering why I'm looking, just so I can make sure that I cover all the points, because I wrote it a few weeks ago. So the reason it was on my mind to talk about is this is the time of year when university students are preparing to do their big performances. Of course, we're in COVID and everything is locked down. Students in the university where I'm teaching, they're doing everything for video. And they've been really awesome and they're learning really well. But it's the crunchiest of crunchy times, right? It's definitely crunch time. And this is a time when sometimes when we're prepared enough, but we still want to be better prepared, this is a time when it's really easy to get distracted. And it's also the time when I think it makes the most difference, where you really need to know how to manage your distractions so you can stay focused. So I've got some ideas for you. And whether you're preparing for your Carnegie Hall debut, or if you're preparing for a big presentation at work, or you're just trying to get through your inbox, there are some things you can do to really help you in the preparation stage. This is not about focus on stage. This is about practicing or preparing for something. So here we go. One of the things that we all know is to set up a distraction-free environment. Now, we know this, but really take a good look at your environment. Is it really distraction-free? Like, really? Mine is not at the moment. I have a little dog here who is licking her paws and driving me crazy. So it's not a distraction-free environment. In fact, I love my dogs, but they distract me sometimes. So actually, when I was writing the blog post, it took me a long time to get it done because there are all these other things I kept wanting to do. So another thing is using your phone. And musicians, we often use our phone as a tool. Maybe we're recording on it. Maybe we're using it as our metronome. Maybe we're, using it for backup tracks. If you're going to use your phone, or if you're going to have your phone with you, turn off the notifications. Put it on Do Not Disturb. In fact, I was at a concert once and a young lady was accompanying and she was using her iPad for her scores. And they were in the middle of a performance and her dad Skyped her. He's like overseas. He Skyped her. So she's trying to play and the Skype notification came up on her screen. She was a total pro. She just played around it. But so lesson learned, right? Turn off your notifications. It's really easy to say, oh, I'll just leave them on. It'll be fine. It's not fine. And I don't remember the stat. But when you get interrupted, it takes, is it 21 minutes or something to gain your focus again? So just set yourself up so that you're not distracted, especially when you know you're pushing a deadline. What else do I have? Use your diffuser. I'm going to get back to that in a second, but have a diffuser with some really great focus oils in it. So there's a lot to it, and that's actually how I got started on my oil journey. Okay, keep your brain out of your inbox. One of the things I struggle with a lot, or have struggled with a lot in the past, is I'll sit down to practice or work on something. Actually, right now all I do is just work because I'm an administrator now, which I kind of hate it a lot. But I'll try to practice, but I know that I've got 500 emails in my inbox. And I had a really hard time dealing with that. So the best thing I can suggest is to get yourself an email management strategy. And there are free guides out there on how to do this. I wrote a blog post about it. I started doing the STACK method, STACK method, totally free, great method. I totally use it. I've tweaked it a little bit to make it mine. But now my inbox, actually at the end of the day today, I think I've got 8 emails in my inbox, but I always get to 0 every single day. Every day, email 0. It doesn't mean I deal with all my emails, right? Because there are action items on there sometimes that take a number of days. But my inbox is at 0, and the psychological gift that brings it's astounding, because I know that at least I have things managed. I know where everything is, and I don't feel like I'm going to lose anything. So when I do sit down to practice or do some deep focus, I don't have to worry about that inbox. And the other thing that happens that's magical is I no longer feel compelled to check my email in the evening or on the weekends, and I don't do it. Well, I do it a little bit if I'm expecting some information, but I don't do it. And this is when I was chair the first time. This is my second round as chair. When I was chair the first time, I was on email all the time. And I think it's because I was afraid that my email would explode. But no one needs you that urgently. Almost no one. And the people who probably do need you that urgently sometimes probably know how to get a hold of you outside of your email. So really, the email inbox 0 thing, big deal. So I've got a blog post on that. Okay, do a brain dump. Oh, I love journaling. Actually, if you're interested in doing a journaling workshop, send me a DM and I'll put you on a waiting list. I'm working on something. So do a brain dump. Brain dump is a hot term these days. Everybody's throwing around the word brain dump. It's kind of a silly phrase. But I have been journaling every morning for a long time. I started in 2001. I follow the method from Julia Cameron's The Artist Way, the morning pages. 3 sides of an 8.5 by 11 page. So, like if you're going to take your university notes and you're writing by hand, because that happens less and less now, but it's the best way. Students, take your notes by hand. But 3 sides of a page takes about half an hour. And it's really, there are no rules. The only rule is just keep your pen moving and go for 3 whole pages. And what happens is you work through all the things, so you don't have to carry those things around in your brain. Anybody who's a performer who has ever had to perform a big performance from memory, you'll know what happens when you're trying to keep all that information in your head and you're getting to a performance. How many times have I been within a couple days of a recital and I can't remember my phone number, I can't remember my PIN number, I can't remember just basic information because you're so busy trying to hold everything in your head. If you can deal with it, just not unlike the inbox thing, if you can get that information out and onto the page where you can see it and you can process it, oh, it's so valuable. And I've got some blog posts on that too. I also use a paper calendar system in addition. My full focus planner, they're having a sale right now. And I use that in conjunction with my journaling. So when I'm journaling and stuff comes up that I want to remember or I want to use as an action item, I throw it in my planner. So I'll write it in the margins and then I'll transfer to my planner after. So put your ideas as they come out where you can find them easily. So another place to do that is if you have a lot of information floating around, coming out in your brain dump, overflowing out of your paper calendar, have another place to put stuff. So I use Trello. Again, I use the free version. I use the free version of Trello because it is powerful enough to do what I needed to do. So that's a place where you can go and find things easily. And there's a great robust search engine in Trello too. Okay, another point, give yourself a deadline. Again, this is one of those things where like, yeah, I know, I get it. Yeah, no, but we don't do it, right? Or we don't stick to it. You may need to get yourself an accountability partner. But really, I find the best accountability is what will I be giving up if I don't meet this deadline? So when I was writing this blog post, I gave myself a certain amount of time to write it because I was getting distracted and I wanted to do things. And I knew that if I didn't get it done by that deadline, a few things would happen. I just wouldn't get it done and I'd skip a week and then I'd get behind, which I didn't want to do. I would be missing out on family time. It was a beautiful sunny day when I wrote the post. Or I'd be cutting into my evening time, which I've been really trying to protect. And I didn't want any of those things. So you know what? I pushed and I got her done because none of the options really I wanted to do. So this is the thing about teaching university students. I love that I don't have to coerce or but coerce people into, getting things done. Do your scales or I'll give you a candy. No, it's like do your scales or you're going to suck. right? Meet your deadline, or you're going to have to deal with the consequences. We're adults here. So give yourself deadlines, put them in your calendar, whatever you need to do. But think about, if I don't do this now, what's going to happen? What am I going to be giving up? So that's a powerful motivator. Have you ever heard of bedtime revenge procrastination? This is when we stay up too late because we're doing things for ourselves. We're doing things for ourselves because we didn't get to have enough margin for ourselves during the day. So we steal from our sleep time at night. And one of the ways that you can really manage that is to make sure that you're maximizing your work time during the day. You're setting realistic deadlines so you can meet them and actually meet them. Organize yourself, stay out of your inbox. All of these things, they all work together, and you'll find that you can wind down more easily at night because you have fewer loose ends. It's really amazing. And then you can get up and do your morning journaling habit. All works together. Okay, give yourself a deadline, part 2. This is more of a shorter term functional deadline. So when I'm practicing, or when I'm teaching my students about practicing, I was doing this back in the early 90s before I knew it had a name, Pomodoro method. And I didn't even know until about a year ago that it's called that. I suspect that it wasn't called that for a long time. But anyway, Pomodoro method basically is, there's some science behind this, but set yourself a certain maximum amount of work time. Some people say 50 minutes and then take a 10-minute break. When I'm practicing, or if you're doing anything that might otherwise develop repetitive strain injuries or fatigue, keep it to 25 minutes at the most, or less if things start to hurt, or if you get tired and get scattered and start making errors. So if that happens, take a break. If your back starts to hurt, if you're practicing or whatever, take a break before then. Take a 5-minute break. Time your break or it turns into 3 hours. Ask me how I know this. So, but in that 25 minutes, all notifications are off. The door is closed. There's no distractions. It's like, okay, 25 minutes. This is all I'm doing. Stay out of your computer browser. Do not be scrolling. This is one of the things when we use a computer or a phone as a tool to get work done, it's really easy to get distracted. So give yourself 25 minutes or 50 or whatever works for you, but not longer than 50. And do just that thing for that amount of time, then stop, take a break. And here's what's interesting. When you come back after your break, change what you do. This is how it works for practicing. But change what you're doing and you'll find that you'll get more done, you'll have more momentum, and you'll retain any information that you've learned. You'll retain it better. It's kind of cool. So that's awesome. Right. Looking ahead. Okay. Oh yeah, and don't try to get too much done in that time. Focus on something really specific. So in my blog I said, I can't practice the whole Beethoven sonata in 25 minutes. I could probably play through it, but that's not practicing. But if I instead take that 25 minutes and decide I'm going to memorize something in like the first movement, part of the first movement, if I'm going to practice that for memorizing it, and that's what I focus on, now I've made progress instead of just playing through something. So think about that. How can you really focus your task in that time, in that Pomodoro chunk, so that you can make progress? It's really good to do that on things that you really don't want to do, things that are complex, that are just like, wait until I have a chunk of time. Use Pomodoro, works great. Use your oils. Okay, this is actually what started me on the oily journey in the first place. I realized that, holy moly, oils are amazing for focus. I expected them to be good for stage, which they are, but what I wasn't expecting is that I got really incredible focused practice time done when I was using my oils. So in the blog, there's a whole list of other blog posts where I talk about that, but you can basically create an aromatic link between an activity and an output. So, but here's where it gets really interesting. You can program that aroma to be connected to a certain emotional response. Here's what I mean. So when I first started using oils for practicing and performing, what I planned to do, which I did do, was create a scent link. So I wanted to create a scent link between and actually, here's my practice roller. My friend gave me a roller with crystals. Isn't that pretty? So my plan was to create a scent link. Oh, that's how you use them. Back of the head, temples, keep it away from your eyes. A scent link between practicing and performing, so that, and I knew this would work, that the having the scent in the performance end of things would allow the memory that I created when I was practicing, that memory would carry over and be easier to recall on stage. Now that does work really well. But what I wasn't expecting was when I used the oils when I was practicing, I could practice for longer and I got way more done, and I could retain that information between practice sessions. It was incredible. So, and it worked enough times and on enough people that I know it wasn't a fluke. Here's my recipe. In a 10 ml bottle, which is one of these, 6 drops each of frankincense, rosemary, peppermint, and wild orange, which gets you to about here if you're not using stones. And top the rest with a carrier oil. We use fractionated coconut oil, and you put it back of the neck. There's a spot there, right on the bottom of the hairline, temples, and then I just slather it all over. It smells amazing, and holy moly, it's like putting blinders on for focusing. It's amazing. Okay. I also like to use Adaptive, which is the one I use it for overwhelm. So again, if your inbox, my colleague the other day, she said, I can't focus. My inbox has 5,000 emails. So I sent her my blog post on email overwhelm. And then lately I've been using Intune, which is one that I'm hot and cold with. It's a very strong flowery aroma, and all of a sudden I just can't get enough of it. So it's great. Okay. So, yeah. But use your oils, have them going on in the diffuser, have them with you, roll them on. If one of them isn't working, try a different one. But give it a shot. So these are some ideas that I hope will help you if you're having trouble paying attention, if you're overwhelmed, if you've got lots of things to do. And like I said, it's crunch time for so many people. So this is time when you really need to leverage your strategies. I hope you found this useful. Like I said, if you are interested in getting on a waiting list for a journaling workshop, send me a DM. I don't know when it'll happen, but I'm working on something. Thanks for hopping on. Nice to see you.